Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm your host Krabby Terror 8 and here's something a bit different for my channel. This is the first of, I hope, many playthroughs of Eldritch Horror, the board game, and using the format of the Investigator games that I've been using for Arkham Horror, the card game. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to play Eldritch Horror. I've been playing this for a while and I really enjoy it. I am new to Eldritch Horror, much newer than Arkham Horror the card game, so I do appreciate any feedback or thoughts on my play because that will help me improve how I play the game. But just to give you a little bit of an idea how the Investigator games will work in Eldritch Horror, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of the Investigators on Tabletop Simulator, and I'm going to put them through Eldritch Horror, starting with Azathoth. And so I think there's about 26 Investigators or so, something like that. So we'll take them through Azathoth one at a time, true solo, see how they go, and we'll put them in a league table from the best performing to the worst performing Investigator. And I think the way that we will actually score it is probably, I've been thinking about this, probably the best way to do it is to use a combination of things. The number on the Doom track, plus the number of mysteries that have been solved, and also in addition to that, if the old one has been defeated, that would be an additional point. So for example, if Harvey Walters here manages to get all the 3 mysteries by Doom track 6, then that would be a 9, 6 plus 3 mysteries. I think that's the way it's going to work. We'll see how it goes. If anyone's got any thoughts about that, I'm very interested to hear, but I wanted to have some way of scoring how each Investigator goes. So here we are, we're all set up in Tabletop Simulator. I've pre-prepared all of the cards, they're all shuffled, everything's ready to go. And we have Azathoth over here. You can't quite see them, but the mysteries are over here and one has been drawn, ready to go. So I think we're ready to, and the Mythos deck has been organized and is ready to roll here. So everything's ready to go. We've got Harvey Walters here in Arkham. So it probably just leaves me really to just read a little bit about Harvey Walters and his background, have a look at Azathoth, have a look at the mystery, and I think then we're ready to kick off the first episode of the Investigator games for Eldritch Horror. So let's start by looking quickly at Harvey Walters' layout. Just for those who may not be used to him, he has a physiological index, or a health, I suppose, of 4, so he's not the healthiest dude around, but that's all right. He's a pretty old dude, so not surprising that his physiological index is a bit on the low side. His psychological index is pretty robust. He can take quite a bit of horror, and I guess that aligns him more with sort of spell casting and those sorts of things, because when you look at his stat line, he's strong on law and will, and he's very good on observation. Where he's weak is influence and strength, which means he's not going to be much of a physical fighter, and indeed he's not going to be much in terms of influence and getting items either. So that's probably not something he's going to do very much of. His core action, which won't be used because in true solo, is another Investigator on your space improves 1 skill of his choice or her choice. If your value for that skill is equal to or higher than his, well, that's just not going to happen in this scenario, so we don't need to worry about that. But this other one, after resolving a research encounter, you may spend a clue you gain from the encounter to improve 1 skill of your choice, which is quite a nice perk there for doing research encounters. So that's Harvey Walters on that side. If we just flip the card and have a look, we won't worry about, in case of insanity and other things, if Harvey Walters is driven insane or dies, that's it. That's where it all finishes. But we can see here he starts in Arkham. He starts with the Ancient Tome asset, which we'll look at in a moment. And just a little bit of a background on him. I should also say Harvey Walters has a special place for those who have been around Call of Cthulhu and Arkham Horror for many, many years, because I think Harvey Walters was in the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, he was like the example investigator that you rolled up or you used from the rule book. So he was sort of the example or the tutorial investigator. So he's been around for a long time. I drew him randomly, so it's nice that he came up first. So his personal history is as follows. In the time since Harvey Walters earned his master's degree in journalism from Miskatonic University, a lot has happened to him. His journalistic career took him into the roles of mystic and psychic investigator, which is not usual, really. If you're in journalism, you don't end up usually in mystic and psychic investigation, but that's our Harvey, which in turn led him to earn doctorates in history and archaeology. Wow, this guy knows his stuff. There is perhaps no sane man alive who knows more about the occult than Harvey, which sort of suggests there's quite a few insane men alive who do know stuff about the occult. Now his ongoing struggle against the darkness has brought him back to his alma mater here in Arkham, which is where we start. So there we go. That's Harvey Walters. And we can see here his ancient tome, which what he starts with it's a nice card. It's an item. For an action, you can study the words of the long-dead language, and if you passed, you can spend 1 sanity to gain a clue, a spell, and a task unique asset. Very nice. So that's a really powerful thing that we will definitely be taking advantage of. So there you go. Now, Harvey's up against Azathoth. Azathoth is probably one of the easier old ones, and good for me to start with the easier old ones as I get used to this game a little bit more. He's the demon sultan. The idiot god sits at the center of all things, spreading madness and death. Lovely. Its seeds descend from the stars, threatening to crack the world in half. His piece is when the omen advances to the green space on the omen track, you would advance doom by 1 for each Eldritch token on that space, and of course there is 1 Eldritch token at the moment. And when the 3 mysteries have been solved, investigators win the game. If of course we get to 0, we then flip this and we resolve the world is devoured effect on the back. So that's really it. His cultists are fairly on the weakish side, mainly horror rather than physical health. But if you, after resolving a will test, you lose 1 health and defeat this monster. So it's sort of like an auto fail on the health. So there we go. And the mystery that we randomly drew to start with is the voice of Azathoth. Most musicians describe this 18th century Italian opera as unplayable. It comes as no surprise that the composer was executed for heresy. There you go. I can't imagine that happening to Drake or Lady Gaga or something, but there you go. When an investigator would gain an artifact, he may gain the Massi di Requiem per Shugay artifact instead. So that's a really important thing when we gain an artifact. At the end of the Mythos phase, an investigator may spend clues equal to 1 to discard it and solve this mystery. So that's the first one. We've got to find an artifact. So there we go. We're ready to roll. Everything's shuffled up and ready. Just over here in the reserve, we've got a few things. We've got a specialist, which I don't think we'll be taking. There is an enchanted dagger, which is only worth 1, which gives us +2 to combat encounters, which might be worthwhile trying to get, since we're not too great on from that perspective. Tear gas, which we can discard this card and re-roll up to 2 dice when resolving a combat test encounter. And finally, a treasure hunter who's very expensive. Looking a bit like Lara Croft here, but I don't think we'd be getting the treasure hunter anytime soon, but would be a nice ally to have. So there we go. The expedition is down in Antarctica at the moment. So here we are in. I might just angle the board just a little bit better so we can. I think that's a little better so we can see Harvey a little bit better. So here we are in Arkham. This is the turn counter because also the other thing we're going to record is the number of turns it takes to complete. because if we have a tie, then obviously someone who does this in more quicker turns would be higher up on the league table. Oh, we also drew a Sydney gate along with a young Chthonian, which has the effect: when this monster is spawned, each investigator on this space or an adjacent space loses 1 health and 1 sanity, which thankfully didn't happen. Problem with this gate here is it's a billion miles away from us, and indeed the clue we drew is up here as well at point 13, so that's not too far away, I suppose. So there we go. So I think we're ready to start. The investigator gains for Harvey Walters. The crowd goes wild as Harvey steps up to the plate in Arkham. And we will see how we go. So first thing is we'll obviously start with our action phase, and we can use a couple of actions here. But the main thing that I'm really got to focus my mind on is this particular card, which is we've got to get ourselves an artifact. We've got to get ourselves an artifact card from somewhere. And I suppose the obvious place is to go down here to the expedition, would be one way. It's also possible that if we do an investigation up here, we might also snag an artifact, which is sort of closer, I suppose, because we're not that far away, just through London. So we either can hop down to Buenos Aires and move into Antarctica that way, and then I suppose we're getting close to Sydney. The problem with Antarctica is kind of far away from most things. So whilst it gets us closer down here, it's not necessarily keeping us where most of the action is. The other thing is I do want to use this action here. So what I'm thinking is I'm here in Arkham, and I think what's the benefit of being in Arkham? You can gain an incantation spells, which would be nice for Harvey to get. I'm sure he would love the odd spell. So what I might do is, because I do want to get to this clue, because I do have a benefit for doing that, which is that I can improve a skill of my choice, so either in strength or influence. And I'm feeling probably strength would be the thing, because influence, but I suppose both of them could be used in encounters as well. But anyway, we'll do one of those things. So I think the first action I'm going to take is I'm going to get a ship ticket. I'll take a ship ticket. Which means that we can get over to the clue next time. That's the first action that we take. The second action that we take is to do this. So you study the words of the long dead language. So we've got to do a lore test. So that's 3 dice. So we'll just put these out over here. 1, 2, 3 dice. We'll put these to the side because we don't need those. So I'm just going to do the classic. You can do the R now, and it rolls them for you up in the air. Here we go. What do we get? 3, 4, and a 1. So we fail that, and we don't succeed with the tome this time, which is a bit of a pity, but that's the way that it goes in Eldritch Horror. I hope I didn't call it Arkham Horror. If I do call it Arkham Horror, I do apologize. I play so much Arkham Horror, but of course this is Eldritch Horror. So that was our 2 actions in the action phase. So we move into the encounter phase. We're here in Arkham, which means we can draw from the Americas deck as an encounter. Let's have a look what we get. And we get, you try to convince the manager of the First Bank of Arkham to give you access to a particular safety deposit box. This is a shaking hand with a -1. If you pass, you find a legendary treasure and gain 1 magical artifact. There we go. If you fail, the manager calls over security and can chain condition. No! Now, it's really unfortunate because we would have gotten a clue, which means we don't get to re-roll, and basically we have to roll with a -1, which is basically just 1. So we've got to get I'll just move these to the side again. We have got to get a 5 or a 6 with this roll. And it's only 1 roll. So here's fingers crossed, 5 or a 6. And we get a 6. Fantastic. That's brilliant. We did it. Oh my goodness. Is that right? -1. Yeah, we got a 6. If you pass, you find a legendary treasure, gain 1 magical artifact. And I think if you would gain an artifact. Wow. So that was very fortuitous. I was not expecting that. So these are unique assets. The artifact here is 1 magical artifact. So it's not any old artifact. It's got to be a magical. Let me move this back here. I really need to have some kind of a dice roll arena here. I'm not sure how I bring those into the... Maybe someone can give me some clues about that, how I could bring that in. Anyway, so let's just start drawing from the top and see if we get what we're looking for. So the first thing is is that a magical artifact? It's a magical relic, so it's not an artifact. Okay, what about the next one? Is that a magical artifact? It is a magical item. I don't think that's the same as a magical artifact. Oh, they all are artifacts, aren't they? Of course they're artifacts. So that was magical, so maybe... hold on. Maybe I didn't... Magical relic item. Magical. So they're all artifacts. This says relic, though. And this just says magical. So I don't know whether they both apply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one back because I'm not sure if it applies as a what was it called? A magical artifact. It didn't say relic, so I'm going to assume. So I got a my go brain case. You and another investigator may trade possessions. Well, that's no use. That's actually fine if I throw that away. In addition, you may move. He may move to your space if he does move if he does move to his previous space. Well, that's not going to happen because there's only us. But that doesn't matter because we have gained this artifact because these are the artifacts. So yeah, so it is a magical artifact. So if you gain an artifact, you may gain the Massi D Rek or Shogai artifact instead. So actually, we're not keeping this. What am I doing? We've got to find this other one. So let's search for it, and let's put what's it? MASS. Here it is. We found it. So this is the one that we get. So I went through all that, and we're going to keep it anyway. So I'm just going to flip this one, put it back in the deck, shuffle up the deck. Let's close that up. Shuffle up the deck. So this is the one that we now have. Oh dear, item tome. Test with a -1. If you pass, you may spend 1 sanity to discard 1 monster on a space of your choice containing a gate. And during the Mythos phase, roll the 1 die on a 1, advance the doom by 1. Well, that might happen because what it says here is at the end of the Mythos phase, an investigator may spend clues, which we don't have, equal to 1 to discard it. So we've got to keep it for the moment. So it's actually good that we're going to go and get that other clue because we're going to need it. So if we are going to solve this particular mystery. So we're going to keep this for the moment and see how we go. So we could actually use the action to try and get rid of that rather nasty looking young Chthonian, but who knows what else might pop up between now and then. So there we go. That was our encounter phase. So we had a couple of actions where we basically got a ship token, and then we failed to use our tome. But then we had a stroke of good luck because we managed to get a magical artifact. So we now have the Masse de Requiem per Shugai, which is sitting in our hand. And now all we need to do now is, if we want to solve this mystery, is all we need to do is get a clue, basically. And we've got 2 ways of doing that. We can go up and get this clue here, or we can use our ancient tome to actually get ourselves a clue. And it wouldn't be a bad thing to have a couple of clues anyway. So there we go. That's all been very successful. I'm really happy with the way things are going so far. They seem to be going very smoothly, or smoothly-ish anyway. So I suppose it's time for the part of the game where everything can go absolutely haywire. And that, of course, is And that, of course, is the Mythos phase. So let's draw from the Mythos deck, not the whole deck. Why don't we just draw the top card? There we go. Let's flip it over. Oh, it's a blue card. Ah, okay. So the first thing that we do is we draw a clue. There we go. And that clue is Shanghai. Now, I should say, I'm sorry, I didn't say at the very beginning, but this isn't a how-to. This isn't a sort of a how to play Eldritch Horror. I'm assuming that anybody watching this also already knows how to play. So if you don't, if you're new to Eldritch Horror, there's plenty of fantastic videos on how to play. So I would recommend you go and watch one of those. But anyway, this one's on Shanghai. So I'll put the clue here on Shanghai. There we go. And what's Shanghai good for? It always says improve your, improve your law. Okay. So here on Shanghai, so we put the clue on Shanghai. What do we do next? Let's have a look. After we do that, we get 4 Eldritch tokens. They're probably here somewhere. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We get 4 Eldritch tokens on here. I might move this because that's going to be the discard pile, but this is inactive. This is active, so I'll put it here. It was thought to be nothing more than a monstrous Aleutian carving. In truth, this mighty god of the Arctic fell into a deep sleep long ago. It was taken from its throne and placed in a museum. Now its long slumber has come to an end. Ooh, that sounds a bit rough. Horror in the museum, ongoing rumor. When this card enters play, spawn the Rahan-Tagoth epic monster, in London. And when it is defeated, solve this rumor. Ah, easy. Okay. Right, let's find this Ran epic monsters. Let's search it up. So, here it is. Lovely. Okay, let's just drop it on the table. Close that up. Let's flip it. Have a look. Ooh, well, this is nasty. If you lose health from the fight test, gain a hypothermia condition. Ouch. Toughness is equal to 3. Whew. Nasty. So yeah. So he's on London. So well, we're here, so we could try and defeat him. However, I don't think we're quite in a position to start bashing epic monsters just yet. So he might be there for a little bit. If there are no Eldritch tokens on this card, each investigator loses 3 health and 3 sanity and gains the hypothermia condition, which I don't know what the hypothermia condition does, but it's probably horrible. And if you get the red, whatever that's called, the red lightning thing, discard an Eldritch token from this card. Okay, I see. Right. Oof. Okay. Well, I guess there was no gates opened and things, but that's quite a difficult one. So definitely solving mysteries at the moment is a little bit easier than that. And I think if we are going to defeat Ran-Tagoth, we'll want to be a little bit stronger than we are at the moment, ideally. Okay, well, I think that's the end of the Mythos phase. So after that, we have a rumor in play. So I think it's time, and that's the first, sorry, we had our first turn. Sorry, I should have put that as 1. So we're on to our second turn. So here we are, we've got 2 actions. We are here in Arkham, and I think what we want to do, just focusing the mind on these mysteries, is we need a clue. So there are 2 ways we can get the clue. And also, there's a benefit to us actually doing research encounters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the ship token. Just throw that away in the trash. And we are going to move to London, which allows us to move here to 13, where this clue is. What is it? It's a C. It's a C. Oh, whoa, that was cool. It's a C space. I think they're getting a bit caught with each other. Okay, so it's a C space. Yeah, we use the... So we could move to London, but we've got the ship token. It allows us to move an extra space. So that was our first action. Our second action is... I think we use this again. So we're going to test for this long dead language. So that's 3 dice. And we can gain a clue, a spell, and a task, unique asset, for the price of a sanity, which I think is a pretty good price. So let's move the 3 dice that we're going to use over here. There we go. And we'll just highlight them. Roll them. Here we go. And we get a 4. We fail again. Geez, these are terrible rolls. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. So that didn't work, but that's okay. All right. So that's our 2 actions. So first action we got to here. Second action, again, we're having real trouble with this tome and actually interpreting the glyphs on it. But that's all right. And so we move into the encounter phase, and we are going to do a research encounter. So let's bring up a research encounter. Let's see what the research encounter has for us. We are at C, I think. We're all at C. Let's see. I'll just double check again. Yes, we are all at C. So let's have a look. C. Your ship... Oh, no, it's strength, isn't it? Your ship is destroyed by a glowing rock that fell from the sky. Gain this clue. Okay. All right, so we get the clue. Okay. It just says we get the clue. Okay. You struggle to reach wreckage that can keep you afloat. Now, does this trigger after resolving a researching? Oh, we're not there yet. Okay. So, you struggle to reach wreckage. Oh dear, we're in the sea. Must be bloody freezing up there. That can keep you afloat. If you fail, the undertow pulls you underwater and you lose 2 health. Oh dear. Okay, so this is a strength. We get 2 dice for that. I hope my... there we go. There's the 2 dice. Okay, and we will roll them. And what do we get? We get a 6 and a 4, so we succeed. Oh, we're stronger than we thought. So we didn't fail. We don't lose the 2 health. So there we go. That was our research effect. That's fantastic. We get the clue, and it says here, after resolving a research encounter, you may spend 1 clue. Gain from that encounter, improve 1 skill of your choice. Well, that's a bit of a pain because we actually need this for this one, because it says at the end of the Mythos phase, an investigator may spend clues equal to discard it. So yeah, that's a bit of a pain because it's a pity we weren't able to do this one, because then we would have had 2 clues on board. But that's all right. That's the way it goes. And so I would have liked to have improved our strength or something, but I would rather solve the mystery, to be honest. Okay, so that's the end of the encounter phase, which means we move directly into the Mythos phase. So we'll draw a card, flip it. Okay, and let's see what it says. So first of all, we move the Doom track round 1, doing, to the blue. So no, the Doom doesn't move up. That's the first thing. Does anything else happen with that? Sorry, I should just check. Advance the clockwise 1, then advance the Doom by 1 for each gate on the game board that corresponds to the current omen. Okay, that's all. All right. There we go. So that's the first thing that we do. The second thing we do is all the lightning things. So that starts with monsters. Well, this is not a lightning monster, so that doesn't happen, and there are no other monsters on the board. If we look at Azathoth, he has no lightning things either. So there's no lightning things there. There is no lightning things here. And so there are no other lightning bits and pieces. So the only lightning thing is down here in my pieces and here, yes. So discard an Eldritch token. So an Eldritch token goes. We'll chuck that in the trash. So there's now only 3 left on here. And then this one says, roll 1 die. On a 1, advance the doom by 1. Okay, and then this one doesn't have anything. So we will roll 1 die, put that away. We'll roll the die. Whee! And we get a 6. So no, it doesn't. And I think that's everything from that perspective, so not too much. Then the next thing we do is we draw a gate. So we draw a gate, and the gate is San Francisco. Very nice. Whoops. And of course we draw a monster to go with the gate, and it's a giant penguin. Oh, it's not. Ah, there we go. Yes, it's a giant penguin. Oh dear. Okay. Doesn't sound very scary. Wow, it's pretty strong for a penguin. When this monster is spawned, move it to Antarctica, and if you lose health from the strength test, you gain 1 injury condition. That's quite nasty for a penguin. But anyway, it goes to Antarctica, so yeah. Okay. So now we have 2 gates out. And that's a green gate. Yeah. So I think that's... Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've done that. So now it says, you would call it a conspiracy if such a thing were possible. Objects seem to vanish into thin air. Scars from countless mishaps cover your skin. When people see you, there's an instant look of pity in their eyes. That sounds my life normally. Failure and disaster ceaselessly dog you at every step. Plague of misfortune. Oh, you are kidding me, right? You are kidding me. The lead investigator discards 1 item possession, 1 ally asset, 1 task, 1 spell, 1 talent, 1 clue, 1 focus, and 1 improvement token. So 1 item possession. So either the item relic tome. No, we are not losing that. So I am going to lose that. I can't believe this. So we lose that. What else do we... I think we lose a clue. Oh, this is a terrible card. 1 ally asset we don't have. 1 task asset we don't have. 1 spell we don't have. 1 talent condition we don't have. 1 clue. So we lose the clue. Goes in the trash. Can't believe this. 1 focus, no. 1 improvement, no. So we already got rid of an item, so we get to keep that. I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. So it looks like we'll be heading off to Shanghai to get the clue there, because we don't have any other ways of getting clues. He gains 1 injury condition, 1 madness condition, and 1 bane condition. So let's shuffle up the madness conditions, and we get paranoia. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die on 5 or 6. Discard this card. I get a madness condition. This is... Oh, was that the madness? That was the madness condition. I get an injury condition. I get an injury condition, which is internal injury. Okay. And I also get a bane condition. And the bane condition, let me just move this over here a little bit. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Bane condition. Oh dear. How terrible. What an awful card. That's like a terrible card. Wow. Well, best to get it sooner rather than later. So that kind of put the kibosh on everything. So there we go. That was the end of the Mythos phase. What a terrible phase. We move into phase 3. So here is Harvey here in the middle of nowhere. Oh dear. So yeah, we're here. So we're not far from London, but there's nowhere we're taking on this epic monster. So I think the first thing we might do is rest. I think that might be a good idea. Oh, I don't have any clues. Where's the this is the closest clue, isn't it? You're in Shanghai. But getting to Shanghai is actually quite difficult from where we are. Okay. So yes, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to rest first of all. So when we rest, we can do some roll. When you perform a rest action, now we haven't, but I'm going to perform a rest action. When you perform a rest action, you may roll a die. On a 5 or 6, discard this card. Let's go. So we roll 5 or a 6. No. Then this one says, when you perform, you may roll a die. 5 or 6. Let's go again. We roll. Come on. Nope. And finally, no, that doesn't allow. So there we go. That's the rest condition. I don't think we get anything else for rest other than gaining. If we rest, yeah. Okay. So that was a bit of a waste of a rest, but that's all right. So the next thing we can do is we could do this, I think, which is test -1. If you pass, you may spend a 1 sanity to discard a monster. It doesn't feel like a very useful thing to do. I'm going to actually get a ship ticket so I can get the hell out of here. Okay. So that's the end of our action. That was very disappointing that we didn't get rid of these, but anyway, that's the way that it goes. So now, I guess it's encounter time. We'll just do a normal encounter, a ship encounter. Let's see what we get. C. A sailor talks to you about a risky opportunity. If you can convince him you're up to the challenge, he'll share what he knows. If you pass, he gives you the details, gain 1 task, unique asset. If you fail, his distrust in your ability shakes your confidence, discard 1 improvement token. Well, I don't have an improvement token, but here we go. We will do a roll with a shake with a influence -1, so that's 1. So we need a 5 or a 6, and we get a 5. Wow, fantastic. So what do we get? We get a task unique asset as a consequence. Very nice. The task unique assets, spells, unique. These are the unique assets, and I'm assuming what there are tasks here. So what's the top one? Task, here we go. Really lining these up. Courier run. When you gain this card from the deck, place 1 random clue that corresponds to a city space face up on this card. After resolving a location encounter on that space, flip this card. All right. Well, let's get a clue. Is it let's just flip it. What is it? It's 2. No, that's not 1. So we'll put that back. Get another one. What's this one? Oh, that was 2 again. I'll just keep drawing them. What's this one? Oh, still loading. Hello? The Himalayas. No, that's a wilderness. I think it's got to be a city. Yep. I'll draw again. Oh, geez, it's really stuttering here with these. Hello. Okay, we'll flip that. And this is San Francisco. So there we go. We'll put San Francisco on here. We'll just put these other 2 back into the clues. So, it's San Francisco. You gain this card from the deck. Place 1 random clue that corresponds to this space, San Francisco. After resolving a location encounter on that space in San Francisco, flip this card. Well, we might as well do that because we could go and might as well. We're not very far away from there, so it might be worthwhile doing that. So there we go. Very interesting. Okay, so that's our encounter deck. That's our encounter piece that we did. Yeah, that was very interesting. Task unique asset. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is move into the good old Mythos phase, and we still haven't resolved any of our mysteries because we need a clue. So let's see what we draw. We'll flip it. It's green. So first thing is the doom track moves around 1 again. So it's red, and there is a red, so the doom now does move from 15 to 14. And there is a monster surge, which I think means that a monster spawns in Sydney. I'll just double check that. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Resolve a monster surge on each space containing a gate that corresponds to the current omen, or spawn a new gate. Well, there is one, so there's one in Sydney. So Sydney gets another monster, and Sydney gets a hunting Biaki. This monster is spawned. Move it to the nearest investigator. Then an investigator on this space becomes delayed. Ooh, wow, nasty. Hunting Biaki. So let me just, when this monster is spawned, move it to the nearest investigator. Well, that's me. Then an investigator on this space becomes delayed. So we move it here. We become delayed. So I think I don't know how we can push ourselves over. There we go. Oh, he's back up again. Whoops. Oh, I'm all over the place here. How about a Z in? That might help. Let's chuck ourselves off here. Come on, Harvey. Fall over. Okay, we'll flip that. Whee! So that means, yeah, we will be fighting the hunting Biaki next time. And that could be a bit nasty. Okay. So we are getting delayed in all kinds of ways at the moment, which is very annoying. But anyway. And then a clue is spawned. And where's the clue spawned? In the Himalayas. I wonder if that was shuffled up. I might just do that again, because I don't feel that was shuffled up. Draw it again. Sorry, I just realized I assumed it automatically shuffled it, but it doesn't look like it does. It looks like you've got to. So 18 is where the clue spawns, which is, I think that's here. All right. So, yes, that's there. Okay. Let's just a little bit more. Okay. The threat of these ancient evils is not limited to forsaken temples and the world's uncharted depths. You see it now in every corner market, at every level of commerce. Cruelty and deception have taken root. Ongoing. When this card enters play, discard each asset from the reserve with value 2 or less. Okay. That would be that. That was a unique. Oh, that's over here. Let me just move these dice out of the way. So this unique asset goes here with 2 or less. Yep, tear gas. Treasure hunter stays and specialist stays. When an investigator performs an acquire action, he may gain an agreement condition to add 4 successes to his test result. Okay, so we'll put these out. There's some new unique assets. They're the wrong ones. My apologies. Tome of Secrets and the King James Bible. There we go. And so what it's saying here is, performs an acquire asset, you may gain an agreement condition to add 4 successes to his test results. So that would be one of these. Where's agreement? Deal? No. Restriction? Pursuit? Talent? Where's the agreement conditions? Madness? That's a debt condition. Maybe it's in this group. It's in that group. Let's have a look. Um, here it is. I see. So you can gain an agreement condition. All right. So if you want. Okay. It's ongoing. Each investigator loses 2 sanity for each deal condition he has. Then discard this card. Right. Okay. Well, we'll put it over here for now. It's not really anything. I'm not sure I want to. I mean, the specialist. Once per round, you may reroll one resolving a test. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gain a talent condition. Or the treasure hunter. Might be quite good. But anyway. Okay. So that's the end of the Mythos phase. So we move into our next phase. But we are delayed, which means we now become undelayed. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. We flip us. Maybe we can flip it. There we go. Okay, so we are undelayed, but that's basically we've lost all of our turns. So now we move into the encounter phase, and the first thing we do is we are encountering this Biaki. So let's flip the Biaki and see what we've got to do. Okay. So first of all, we have a will test. We're going to roll with 2 for this will test, 2 dice. So we roll here. What do we get? We get a 5 and a 1, so we're successful once, which means we take 1 sanity. Ouch. Then we resolve. Well, it's -2, but I'm at 2, so I get to roll 1 dice because you can't roll no dice. Let's keep the good one, shall we? And hope we pass it. So we roll this one, and what do we get? We get a 1. So we miserably fail. So that means we get a 0, and it's a 1. So we take 1 point of damage and do no damage to it. Oh dear, this is a bit bad. Yeah, so that's unfortunate because that means we haven't done any damage to the hunting Biaki, and we've taken some damage. So yeah. It's lucky we, anyway. So that's the end of the encounter phase. And we didn't get to rest, so we had to keep all of these, which means we move into the Mythos phase. And, oh dear, here we go. So we move the deck, we move the what's it called again? Oh, sorry. The Omen track goes around once. Do we have... San Francisco is that one. Sydney's that one. There aren't any others, so we don't add any more doom, thank goodness. That's the first thing. But then we do have this red lightning bolt. And there should be lots of things happening with the red lightning bolt. So first of all, there's nothing on the table, I don't think, with a red lightning bolt. Nope. But here there is, so we discard another Eldritch token from here, which is very unfortunate. This one here, that card gets discarded. I'll just move this out of the way because that's not discarded yet, so this card gets discarded as a consequence. And now, test will. If you fail, flip this card. So 3 dice. Let's roll these 3 dice. So we roll them. Whee! Into the air, and we fail. So if you fail, flip this card. You felt the anger coiled up inside for such a long time you just can't control it any longer. You lash out at everyone near you. Each other investigator on your space loses 2 health. Discard now. Well, That doesn't matter. We are flailing out in blind rage at nobody. So that's fine. Internal injury, test. Oh, goodness, strength. So that's 2 dice. So that's the 2 dice here. We flip them. Oh, no, we fail that one as well. Flip this card. The hacking fit is too excruciating to continue moving, and you begin coughing up blood, lose 1 health, and become delayed again. Oh my goodness. Just put myself like that. Flip the card. And haunted, roll 1 die on a 1, 2, or 3. Flip the card. We flip it, and we get a 4, so that's fine. Thank goodness. Wow. So that was terrible. And then we draw from the gates, and we get Antarctica. There's a lot happening in Antarctica, that's for sure. Okay, and we draw a monster. Deep 1 hybrid. When you defeat this monster during combat encounter, lose 1 sanity and gain 1. Okay, so that's a deep 1 hybrid there. There we go. Lots happening here in Antarctica. Okay. This dark intelligence somehow embedded its maliciousness into its own stories. Little by little, these stories have crept into your mind, poisoning you. Each investigator has half of his clues. I don't have any. Then the lead investigator gains a curse condition. Oh my goodness. Where's curse? Madness, injury, illness, exposure, boon, bane. Is that curse? Yes. All right. What do we get this time? We get, you gain this card. When you gain this card, discard an ally asset. Okay, we don't have any, so no problem. Okay. There we go. Oh dear. Okay. So it's now turn 5, and we still haven't gotten anywhere. And we can't do anything, but we are back up on our feet again after being delayed again. So we move straight into the encounter, and it's the hunting Byakhee again. So the first thing we do is we test for our willpower. What do we roll? We roll, we succeed with 1. So we again lose a sanity. And now we test 1 dice for, we'll test 1 dice for strength. And we roll that, and we get a 4. So we fail that. So we, I think we lose, yes, we lose another health. We're down to 1 health. This is not going well. This is going really quite badly for old Harvey. I thought it was starting quite positive, but it's just been terrible since. Oh well, I guess that's the way it goes. Maybe some feedback might be helpful. Maybe I haven't played it quite right, or there's something I've missed, or something I could have done. I would appreciate some kind of feedback. That would be great. So anyway, we move into the Mythos phase once again. And what do we have here? Again, the Doom moves around, and indeed the Doom track moves down again, so it's on 13. And that's also a green. So I think there is a green one here somewhere. Where is it? Antarctica, no. San Francisco, yes. So it moves down again. So it's 12. Then we have these red actions. I don't think there's any monsters with the red actions. Nope, none. This loses another Eldritch token. So I'm actually going to die of another one of these. I'm going to actually lose 3 health and 3 sanity, so I will be dead. if that happens again. But anyway, first of all, we test, and if we fail, flip this card. So it's testing 3 law. Yeah, we succeed, so that's good. Then what do we do? Test that. Test strength. And if you fail, flip this card. Well, strength is only 2. Nope. So I do fail, so I flip this card. I'm delayed again. Ah, boy. Okay. This is not going well at all. I think I'm going to be dead. Roll a die on a 1, 2, or 3. Flip the card. Okay, let's just move that out of the way. We failed. So we flip this card 2. This says, when you go, wherever you go, the phantom follows, always watching you. The spirit never leaves you, your side even in public. Each day you hear the shrieks of horror from anyone who sees it. Lose 1 sanity and impair that. So we lose a sanity. We get a -1 from over here. I think that's what impair means. These are all pluses. Is there any impairment ones? Well, I don't seem to have an impairment one, so I'm just going to have to put this on to say I'm at 1. It's not +1. It's definitely not +2. It's actually -1. Oh dear. Does that? Yeah, the allies that surround yourself with act erratically and without cause. Flip this card. The grisly attack is sure to be tomorrow's headline. Resolve the effect of your choice. Discard an ally, which I can't do, or lose 3 health and impair. Well, that's me done. Well, I can't discard an ally, so I've got to lose 3 health. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was very short, very brutal for Harvey. So, yes, thank you very much for watching. That didn't go too well for Harvey. He didn't solve any of the mysteries at all. We came close, but unfortunately we got a terrible card in the Mythos phase, which meant we had to discard the clue before the end of the Mythos phase. We then got delayed multiple times. We weren't really set up. Unfortunately, we weren't able to use our tome to gain things like clues and spells, so we really kind of never got going. I'm not sure whether I mean, I have played this game quite a few times, but things have never gone quite as terrible as that. So old Harvey really didn't do very well at all. But the doom only went down to, it took 5 turns, and the doom went down to number 12 on the track, but he got no mysteries and was defeated ultimately. So a very unhappy start for Harvey. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I would appreciate any thoughts and feedback, or if I didn't do things quite right, I would really appreciate that. I'm relatively new, as I said, to Eldritch Horror. But thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As we go through, we'll be putting these investigators into a league table, as I said. So the league table will be up after this video. And until that time, I'm Krabby Terror 8, and thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.